Today on Locked On Rockies, growing pains, sloppy baseball, and bad pitching. A bit of a tough series for the Rockies through 2 games against the Blue Jays. How can they get out of this little bit of a funk?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 6th day of August in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies, just like all of you are doing over on the Locked On Rockies YouTube comments section. Thank you to all of you making us your first listen of the day. And we are going through a bit of a frustrating series, especially when you're kind of talking about, hey, the vibes and stuff were good from the weekend. But I got to I have to own up to one of my takes here and own up to one of the things that I've been preaching a little bit this year. I've been saying offense, got to focus on the offense. I'm not going to worry about the pitching. I'm not even looking at the pitching. Woof. The pitching is in a tough spot here as the Rockies now another double-digit run scoring performance from the Blue Jays. We'll dive into more of that coming up in just a moment, because I got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So I think, before we dive into everything, the Blue Jays, better team than the Rockies. Really good team, a really good offense, a team that's got plenty of firepower, a team that's been very interesting this year, and a team that on paper should be handling the Rockies the way that they are. But the problem is, it's the deeper part of that is I just saw DMAC there from Altitude Sports tweet this out too, where this was a game in which you kept it in there, you kept it modest. The score honestly doesn't reflect at how close this game was, and the fact that the Rockies had an early lead in this ball game. But you felt the growing pains. You felt the issues with the Rockies. And then a kind of a whole bunch of stuff happened. Miscommunication, sloppy base running, and then injuries adding up for the Rockies, as well as the Rockies lose Estrada and Arcia in the same game. And Austin Nola's out there playing first base for a little bit. But the stuff and why I want to, you can see on the overlay there, it says want to impress, beat good teams. It's because you do get the Rockies, I believe. I was trying to find the stat. Maybe I can find it here quickly. But the Rockies' record against teams with above 500 records, I believe the Rockies have like 9 wins against teams above 500. It's not like that's it's broken. It's not like it's surprising that it's that. But it is these type of series and these type of games and what we've seen over the past 2 days kind of just reminds you. It's just like, oh, okay. The Rockies are playing better baseball, yes. More competitive baseball, yes. And against teams that are above 500. But when they are pulling off the wins, it's more often than not against, lower caliber or around 500 teams, average teams. But when you see teams like the Blue Jays, when you see teams like that have the depth, when you see the teams that are playoff hungry, that have the ambition, this is what happens. And this is what happens often to the Rockies. The Rockies here against the Blue Jays have been outscored 25-5 over the last 2 nights. And, that includes, a 4 spot. And like I said, this game was close. It was a 3-4 run ball game there going into the 9th inning. I think it was a 3-run ball game going into the 9th inning. Toronto adds 3 more. I mean, no one's really having a ton of great success. Angel Chivii and Jimmy Herget. Jimmy Herget's, continues to be kind of one of the more solid pieces, but the starting pitching for the Rockies, I mean, And again, Molina's a young guy, sure. 5 home runs allowed. First Rocky, I believe, since Kyle Freeland, it was listed in like 2011 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the stat was. But 7 earned runs, 5 home runs allowed there. Let's go back to the game. We'll go back to game 1 in this series. Tanner Gordon, 2 2/3, 11 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned runs, a homer allowed off of him. And yes, young guys, certainly, but not the Rockies have now allowed at minimum over the last 3 games 9 runs. And for 3 games in a row, the Rockies starting pitching has allowed 7 earned runs. And again, young guys, certainly, and you can throw that, but that's just flat out unacceptable. We'll hopefully see adjustments, but again, you just keep going down and going back through the list, and these crazy ERAs and these crazy high numbers across the board for the Rockies pitching. It's not baffling, I guess, to when you're sitting there, talking about being surprised, but it is baffling to just see how bad it has gotten and how bad it is getting. I mean, the highest ranking Rocky by WAR right now is Jimmy Herget at 1.7. Who again, like I said, Jimmy, he's the exception to the rule right now. But most of the guys here, and when we're talking about the Rockies starting pitching, they're all at the bottom of the list here. They're all guys that have not been able to be successful here. Let's take a look at ERAs here for the Rockies and looking at who's got the worst here. When you're looking at the bottom of the order here, you got Bradley Blaylock has a 7.68. Carson Palmquist has an 8.91. Antonio Senzatella 7.31. Chase Dolander, I know it's been a while. He's still sitting there in the 6.68. Gostin Gombers 6.18. Herman Marquez 5.67. There's not a Rockies starter that has an ERA under 5. And when you're constantly down and when you're constantly finding yourself behind, and again, the comebacks were exciting. The Rockies showing some life in this one, coming and doing this. But when your starting pitching is letting you down that much, there's a no wonder you're losing the way that you're going to lose. That's what's frustrating here about this stretch and what's been going on right here, because it's just kind of like, oof, the development here. Fun fact, Alan Trejo, when you're talking about lowest ERA, he has a 0 ERA in 1 innings pitched. This is just a big glaring issue with the Rockies here, especially when you're talking about what's the future and what is the long-term plans with your Freeland and your Senzatellas. How are you going to, you what's going to happen here with Herman, at the end of the season? And this, we can't throw Gordon and Blaylock and completely say that things are done and dusted with these guys. But when you're talking about, we're talking about almost 30 innings pitched for Gordon. We're talking about 38 innings pitched here for Blaylock here. You can still be a little concerned with some of the stuff that you're seeing here. Going back here to another thing that I wanted to bring up from the starters here in this game, and this is from Christian Saez of DNVR. Not only did Doyle robbing the home run or the extra base hits, but he stopped the streak of Rocky starting pitching giving up a run or more in the first inning for the 7th straight game. 7 straight games Rockies starters couldn't get out of the first inning without allowing a run. That's a huge issue. And it's not going to immediately get fixed. It's not going to just sit here and make you start feeling any better. This pitching staff is in shambles. It's again, you're talking about some of the issues, and you're talking about some of the concerns that the Rockies have here with some of these guys, but I can at least give the pass to the young guys. It's really tough to just see, and I get Herman's coming back from injury, but Senzatella, is, this is that's a pretty phantom IL stand, or whatever it is, because I think the Rockies are starting to have to ask themselves, what on earth are we going to do here? Because we got a big problem. And let's just go here when you're talking about the team statistics here. We'll just go in the all MLB pitching statistics here. The Rockies have the highest team ERA at 5.84. The Rockies have allowed the most runs in baseball at 635. The Rockies have allowed the third most home runs in all of baseball, only trailing the Athletics in Baltimore, 159 home runs. The Rockies are dead last by almost 100 when it comes to the strikeouts. The opponent batting average for the Rockies is nearly 300, the worst in the league. And the whip is the worst at 1.61 as well. This is a massive problem. And it's not the first time we've talked about it, but holy cow. The Rockies here as a team have not gone, or have now, the last time the Rockies didn't allow 5 or less than 5 runs was when they shut out the Cardinals. The Rockies have allowed at least 5 runs since the shutout of the Cardinals back in the beginning of July. When was this? Not beginning of July. I'm sorry. July 23rd. So not the beginning of July. I got beginning of August on the brain there messing me up. The Rockies in their last 5 games have allowed double-digit runs in 3 out of 5. Zooming that out, in the last 4 series for the Colorado Rockies, they have allowed their opponent to score double-digit runs at least one time in their last 4 series. The Orioles scored 18, the Guardians scored 10, the Pirates scored 17, and the Blue Jays have scored 15 and 10. All the issues that you might have with the other stuff too, aside, when you're allowing that many runs at that rate, you're not keeping up with anybody. And that's why my initial take of, the future to the success of the Rockies is just based on offense, that is not true. We cannot ignore the glaring the warning flags and the glaring issues with this Rockies offense. And I again ask, will there be accountability behind the scenes for the state of this pitching staff? All right, let's keep reacting to the game. Let's keep breaking down Rockies baseball here. Coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, I got to make a quick wardrobe change to show off Gameday Hue. This is a great look, not only for the golf course, for errands, for everywhere you go. Why? Because it's simple. It's sleek. You don't have anything big in your face. You're letting the colors speak for you. That's what Gameday Hue is all about, because today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. For Rockies fans like me, this one hits the mark. Gameday Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. You know what I also like about it? Not only is it a comfortable fit, but very breathable. I kind of got like curly hair. It can get a lot of hot up there. Nice airflow, nice and easy. And like I said, nice and sleek and simple as well. Comes with a nice little curved bill that you baseballers and golf fans love. You can wear it to tailgates, tee times, or just out running errands, and you're going to get compliments. And it's not just hats. You can check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan that has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with MLB 15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundled deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com, code MLB 15. Locked On Rockies here, back with you in segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. So it wasn't just the pitching staff that was a bit of a mess. The Rockies on offense did plate the 4 runs. Hunter Goodman blasting an early home run in this one, which is always a good sign. But from there, kind of cooling off there for a bit, able to put together a 9-hit ball game for the Rockies, and were able to get some extra runners on base because the Blue Jays were having some defensive issues there. Missed opportunities, man, to get picked off at second base there for Arcia to it's always crazy because it's those contact plays, and it's, it makes sense, but it's just for the Rockies to get them to basically run themselves out of so many opportunities and run themselves out of so many outs was very frustrating to see. Rockies 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position, so at least they didn't go 0 for there. 7 strikeouts for the offense there. But again, it was just a team that was not, they also had the lack of communication on that fly ball. They've had some issues across the board, I think, with the Rockies, and just that looked like an inexperienced young team in this one, and a team that you can't do that. You can't play, you can't perform. You have to be able to handle business against a team like the Blue Jays, a team that's 67-48. And a team looking to go above 500 on the road. They're too good at what they do for that. So anyway, one thing also to point out here as what happened in this ball game as well. Patrick Saunders writing this earlier. 2 injuries for the Rockies infield tonight. Third baseman Orlando Arcia left in the 5th after a single. Not sure of the injury. That one was very strange. It must have been, there had to have been, swinging a bat, no matter how you hit it, sometimes you get that vibration into the hand. He immediately left the field. I mean, he was done. I mean, there wasn't even a hesitation. There wasn't even bring the trainers out and look and stand on the field for the second. It was literally, I think, did the I'm done type of motion, walked off the field. And as soon as he got off the field, he headed straight into the clubhouse there. Didn't even really stop, picked up his stuff right there. So I'm assuming that's going to be something that will impact Arcia there, and could see, as I did see Blake Street Banter mention that could mean a Shunk appearance and coming back up there, as the Rockies also finished without Estrada again, looking like a hamstring or something that happened there. He came up limping on that play running into third, and our first, I should say, and so Rockies going to lose out on 2 veteran guys, and they're going to have to go. So let's see. Saunders writing, Warren Schaefer said Estrada has a hamstring injury. Orlando Arcia has an elbow injury. No other details given up at the moment there. Speaking of the injury news for the Rockies here, they have some good news they got from the Seth Halverson news. It sounds like he might be able to pitch again. It's a strain in the arm there, but it doesn't seem to be as bad as it could have been. Let me get you the actual diagnosis there of what it is. Mild right flexor strain. So there is hope he might pitch here. So we'll have to we'll see what that entails, as the Rockies are going to be dealing with that, unfortunately, for the rest of the season. Some more stats here from Patrick Saunders on just kind of how bad the pitching has been here as well. Let's see. Just another couple of things here. With a 30-82 record, the Rockies, and this was before the game started, so 30-83. The Rockies have clinched their 7th straight losing season, the longest losing stretch in franchise history. They must finish the season 33-17 to avoid their 3rd consecutive 100-loss season. They're going to have to perform and avoid the sweep here against Toronto to stay that. Here's this also from Patrick Saunders. Rocky starters have a 14.85 ERA over their last 6 games. They desperately need a halfway decent start from AAA call-up Anthony Molina tonight. It looked like there was a chance, but then it all kind of came apart there. As so that's how bad it's been. For how many of these runs, for how much offense these other teams are putting on against the Rockies. 14.85 ERA, and now higher, of course, over the last 7. That's a week full of baseball there that the Rockies struggled. And that's what's kind of that's what I hate to see. I hate to, you hate to, it's just like the as much as we are riding the highs of the fun and all that stuff, this series is just kind of like a dang. I've said this a few times this year, right? Where it's just like a team like the Blue Jays comes in there, a team that they're not immune from any of their shortcomings or weaknesses or anything like that, certainly, but it's just like, holy crap. They just got so many guys that can do damage. And I don't know too much about the Toronto pitching staff, but doing their job here, holding the Rockies offense down, being able to be successful, getting the job done, and avoiding the big damage there. Getting a little chippy. Got a little chippy in that game as well with some inside pitches to Jordan Beck and stuff as well. So if that's what I think would have been a great, obviously, what would have been a great way to capitalize on the hot start at home this year was, okay, let's stamp this, month or so ish, not quite there, back at home with an exclamation point of bam, taking on a team like the Blue Jays and handling business. Instead, they've just been simply blown out. They've just been dominated, and it's just like it's one of the over 80 reminders now of just how far the Rockies have to go, especially when it comes to pitching. I mean, it's just gotten to a point where you're just like, something's got to give and something's got to get better. I don't know if it's just, the Rockies are tired, they're feeling it. They're exhausted. They're dealing with injuries. They're dealing with just the young guys. I mean, again, Molina's making his debut for the year. I believe it was his second major league start. Palmquist and Blaylock and Gordon, they don't have a ton of innings up here, so you're gonna go through it, but you would at least want to go through with a little bit more success than what the Rockies have seen over the last week. All right, let's look ahead to the finale and put a bow on this one here as the Rockies look to avoid the sweep against the Toronto Blue Jays. That's coming up and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier with Monarch Money? It can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. That makes it so easy to use with a partner or someone that you're working with. Maybe it is your partner in life, or maybe it's your business partner. You can streamline it, put it all in one place so you can see exactly where your money is going, what you're spending it on, and how you need to budget to reach your goals. You can also see how much those little things add up, like takeout and subscriptions. They're going to add up more than you expect. Everybody kind of goes through that realization, right? When they're looking at their money, when they're looking at it, what's one of the big things they look at? Holy cow, that takeout is costing me a fortune. And I'm right there with you, folks. You can reach your financial goals and more when you take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off. Yes, half off your first year. Locked On Rockies here, back with you all again here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. A couple of good signs and a couple of good things there from the game yesterday. Hunter Goodman, of course, a multi-hit game. Warning Bernabel picking up another base knock as he continues to be there. Unfortunately, having some of the issues where we saw some moments of we've seen some good defensive stuff. We've also seen some frustrating moments there. Of course, again, you cannot. That dropped fly ball. I mean, that's the type of stuff that you just really pull your hair out and get really frustrated by. Same with some of the base running stuff from the Rockies tonight. So this was one where not only are you outmatched, but you're not doing yourself any favors when you're putting yourself behind like that, and when you're not able to take advantage of the opportunities that the Blue Jays were giving you. Again, they did score. The game was closer than the final score did. The Rockies did have some moments there, but it's just like Hey, you got some errors. Hey, you got a leadoff walk. You have these moments. Those are the things you got to cash in on. You got to take advantage of. And that's why they were able to come back so, against the Pirates, and why they were able to hang on and hang in that series, is they were able to respond when they had the opportunity to do so. And in this one, the Blue Jays have been able to navigate the few mistakes that they've made, and they've been able to add on on the offensive side, and been able to keep growing their leads and keep the pressure on throughout the ball game. This is a team for Toronto. The Rockies held them a couple scoreless here, but they score in 4 out of the 9 innings of this one, and 3 out of those 4 scoring innings are multi-run innings. They're doing damage. 14 hits, scoring 10 runs here, going only 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but you don't need to worry about runners in scoring position as much when you hit the 5 home runs. That's really going to be something the Rockies are going to have to keep working on and figuring out too, as they obviously, it's where they play, it's what they do, but just home runs after home runs, just brutal. Okay. We got the day game here. Kyle Freeland got the start pushed back to Wednesday, trying to really flush out the sickness that he was dealing with here. And again, this is a situation where you're kind of looking at these guys, and the big difference here between Kevin Gausman is the strikeouts. 127 over 128 innings pitched. So that's just about a strikeout per inning. The ERA is looking nice at 3.99. 17 home runs. So again, when you're looking at that home run total, it's not a ton, but that might be a factor, especially when you're looking at Kyle Freeland having 15. And when you kind of think about the Kyle Freeland starts, especially recently, you kind of think of him allowing those home runs. So if Gausman's been allowing 17, he's also walked 37 batters in that time. That's more than Kyle has. Now Kevin's got 24 more innings pitched than Kyle in this time, and Kyle's allowed what is this, about 27 more hits than Gausman there. So there's some kind of similarities here, but the big difference is those strikeouts there. So the Rockies are going to have to be able to be aggressive and be able to get the job done and avoid those strikeouts there. They've been still striking out a lot, 7 strikeouts there in the first game, or in the second game. The Rockies also striking out 7 times in the first one. It's kind of it's a bit annoying and a bit painful to say 7 strikeouts isn't the worst when it comes to the Rockies, but this is certainly something that could be an issue, and it could be a problem for them here in the finale, as they're looking to avoid the sweep before heading to go face Arizona. And that'll be an interesting kind of series. It's facing another team that did sell and make a lot of changes. But in this one, not only do you want to see the Rockies get the win and avoid the sweep and kind of end this, go 5. What is that? Yeah, they'll go 500 on this homestand here if they're able to avoid the sweep. It's holding them off. It's cooling off that offense a little bit. It's keeping the Blue Jays offense in check. It's showing that, especially leading the way with Kyle. I mean, Kyle has had some moments where he's been able to lead. When the Rockies can get some quality starting pitching, when the Rockies can get their starters to go deeper in ball games and keep these games close, they've been playing well enough, and they've been coming back and having the offense kind of be a little more successful as they go through the lineup a couple of times, that you're going to give yourself an opportunity to win. But it starts by setting the tone early. It starts by a clean first inning. It starts by efficiency there. It kind of how this game started. You got the defensive stop from Doyle. You got the 2-run home run. That's the type of script that you need to replicate here in the finale against the Blue Jays if you're going to avoid the sweep. But this one's all going to start with Kyle Freeland. It's going to start with the starting pitching. It's going to start with how efficient he is. Is he able to hit his spots? Is he able to control the ball the way he wants to and induce the weak contact? Can he get a 4 or 5 strikeout day performance where he can miss some of these bats? Because again, I mean, these are guys, they are teeing off on the Rockies right now. I mean, these batters are just swinging with confidence. They're swinging for the fences. They're having a whole lot of success here at Coors Field on the offensive side when you're talking about the Blue Jays. And this Rockies offense has shown that there's some life and some energy here, and Rockies are going to be turning to even more young guys in this lineup as they're going to be dealing with the fallout from some of these injuries here, especially if there's no timetable to return for these guys and limited details. The Rockies are going to have to go younger. They're going to have to go and lean on some of these guys. They're going to need to see some, to continue to see Warming be able to stay hot and be able to produce at the rate he is. Whoever they call up to fill in for these positions, they're going to need to see them perform here, as the job to avoiding the worst season of all time is very far from done. and you get one step closer if you can avoid the sweep here against the Blue Jays. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Let me know what's on your mind in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. And for your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night for more coverage from around the league, every game, every night. And, of course, if you need more Colorado sports action, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.